Now, as most of you will know, I'm going to be moving workshops in the very, very near future, moving house and everything. And this is going to be the very last thing I turn in here, which is going to be quite emotional because I started wood turning in here, I started my channel in here, and now this is the last thing I'm going to be making. It's a beautiful piece of elm. I'm wanting to make a vase out of this and trying to keep this as the top and try and keep as much of this bark on as possible. Now, it does feel a little bit loose, so it may come off, but we will do our best to keep it. We've also got quite a few bark inclusions as well, so depending how bad they are inside, we'll have to figure out a way of dealing with them. Now, I'm wanting to try and hold this like so I can put a tenon on here. So initially, we're going to mount it with a drive spur, bring up the tailstock and start turning. Okay, everything's locked off, it's nice and tight, and we can start turning at about 750 RPM. Initially, I'm just going to get this round and then I'll start creating the tenon on the bottom. That's got it round. You can see all this is bark inclusion, and that's where some of our problems may start. But apart from that, there's an absolutely beautiful figure in this, so this is going to be absolutely glorious, I hope. Right, I'm going to mark up for a tenon and then we'll take that down. Right, I'm going to create the tenon with a skew, and instead of going straight into it and cutting it down that way, I'm going to do what's called a peeling cut. So I'm going to rub the bevel against the edge there, bring the tip down until it starts to cut, and then start working over and down until I meet the point I need. I've just taken down to the outside of that line just so I can double check it against my jaws. Okay, pretty happy with that width, but I think I'm just going to go down a little bit deeper. Okay, that's pretty good. One great thing about the peeling cut is that if you notice that surface is pretty good, there's no tear out at all. Right, I shall get this turned around and we shall start creating a shape. Okay, I've got it turned around, and now to start thinking about shape. Now, as you can see there, that bark is really quite loose, so it may end up coming off. I'm not particularly worried because the wood underneath I think will be quite interesting as well. So I'm going to start getting the bowl gouge and start working in to this top area and then down towards the base and start playing around with the shape until I get something I think I like. Just stop to take a quick look at this wood. It's not looking too bad. Elm is very, very prone to disease and rot, and woodworm as well, so you always have to be a little bit careful of it, but this looks fairly free of all those. Okay, I'm going to set the tool rest at an angle just so I can do a few more cuts and keep that same angle. Okay, wow, that's really quite interesting. You see that? That's all about to give way. Now, do I pour a bit of CA glue in there to try and keep it in? Or do I just let it come off? Right, I think I'll just let it do what it's going to do. We're getting close to the point where I'm happy with the size of the opening that we're going to end up with, but I do want it to curve just a little bit more in, so I'm just going to turn that tool rest in just a fraction more, just to put a bit of a curve in here, and then we can start working on the other side. Pretty happy with that. That's still hanging on by a thread. Place your bets now to see if that's going to be still there at the end. Right, I'm going to bring the tool rest back around here and start creating a curve on this side so I can marry it up with this point here. Okay, just sharpened up again. Speed wise, we're now up to about 930 RPM. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that shape. Somehow, I'm not quite sure, but I've got a couple of flat spots still, so we'll have to get rid of those. So we'll just do some final tidying on the shape. I'm not going to take this any further down at the moment because I may run the risk of hitting the jaws with the tip of my tool, so we'll stay clear of that bit. Tidy this up, sand it, and then we can start looking at hollowing out. Okay, I'm happy with that. Right, let's sand a little bit. I'll let you watch some of it, but I shall bring you back when it's done. I must admit, I'm loving the way this is looking. I really want to try and keep this bark now. Right, not you though. I think what I'm going to do, this is the main one which I think we're going to lose, is just dribble a little bit of CA glue into these holes and just see if it just helps when we're hollowing out. It may do, it may not. Right, I think I'll do that now, and then after that we'll just put a sealer on here and then we'll start hollowing. Okay, I'm just going to use the O3A thin CA glue. I'm not going to be hitting this with any activator whatsoever. I'm just going to let it seep in there in various locations and just let it do its thing. Okay, right, I'll leave that to dry naturally, and then I'll come back and we'll put a sealer on. Okay, the sealer I'm going to use is a blonde shellac. I'm going to apply it with a paintbrush. The reason I'm using a paintbrush is fairly obviously just so I can get in to all the nooks and crannies of this piece. Alright, let this dry, and then I'm going to cut it back with an abrasive pad, and then we'll start looking at hollowing, I think. Okay, just gone over with an 800 grit abrasive pad, and I shall now set up for hollowing. Okay, we're all set up, ready to start hollowing out. I'm going in with a Forstner bit. I've put a mark on the extension how deep I want to go. So we'll take this slowly and see how we get on. Okay, that all went very smoothly. I'm going to get out my hollowing tool and just start widening this opening a little bit. Let's see if we can make it a little bit wider inside but still keep hold of this bark. Lost a bit of bark. Let's see if we can. Let's see if it can be saved. Okay, I found the piece. I've got some white build-up on here, which I'm not exactly sure where that's from. So before I attempt to glue this, I'm just going to try and clear some of this away, just with a little copper brush. Now I don't think there's many points of contact with this bark and the actual wood itself, so all we can do is try. I think what I'll do is I'll put the CA glue on here and then just put a little bit of activator on the bark and see if I can get it to marry up quickly. I'll use a medium CA glue for this. Okay, well, time will tell if that holds in place. I think I'm just going to put a bit of tape over there as well. Just give that a couple more seconds and I'll carry on hollowing out. Okay, I'll spend a few minutes sanding the inside and I'll bring you back when that's done. Okay, we've disassembled everything, and quite remarkably, most of the bark is still intact. We have lost a few little pieces, especially from this area, which are now down there, and I don't necessarily fancy putting together a jigsaw again. Now, the last thing we've really got to look at around here is there's a few bits of wood which are obviously a lot drier than the rest. The wood around here and around here is just absolutely beautiful, it's gorgeous. But just around here it's a little bit drier. I think this is because there's bark just underneath it. It's quite a messy piece of wood, but beautiful in its own way. So I'm going to try a bit of Howard's feeding wax on the top. I'm going to put a fair amount liberally over the piece and then let it sit for 20 minutes and then rub it off. We'll see how this works. It's not a product I've used much before, and I don't think I've used it on camera before, so we'll see how it does. This stuff does come with a dispensing lid, but in this workshop it's a bit thick due to the cold. Right, I'll give this a while to sit in and we shall buff it off. Okay, that's a good while to sit. I'm going to buff this off with a cloth and then we can turn it round and take off the tenon. Okay, let's turn it around. Okay, we're all set up in a jam chuck. This is just a piece of wood in the jaws that extends into the middle, and we're holding it against the original hole we had when we first turned it. And with a small spindle gouge, I'm just going to start working away at this to leave a little nub in the middle, and then I'll take it off, cut that off, and then sand the base. Okay, right, I'll take this off, sand the base, and then we shall take a look at what we've done. Well, there we go. A pretty little elm live edge vase. I'm really pleased we managed to keep the bark intact. I know we've lost a few pieces, but considering the state of this, I think we've done quite well. It's certainly a fitting end to my time in this workshop. It's a nice simple project, letting the wood do all the talking. We've just done our best to bring out its natural beauty. Well, that's it. That's it for this workshop. All I've got to do now is pack it all up and take it to the new place. Well, I can't dwell on the past, because forward is the only direction we can go in. So we will move into the new workshop. We will make it as good as we can. We will continue to make pieces that make us happy. If you have enjoyed this one, I really appreciate a like and subscribe. Remember, if you do leave a comment as well, then you are going to be entered into the giveaway for our birthday celebration, which is going to be on the 16th of March. And we've got 5 prizes to give away. If you want to be involved, just leave a comment. All right, one quick last reminder, the glue that I'm using now, the O3A CA glue, if you're wanting to get hold of some of that, then there is a link in my description and there's a 10% off code which expires on the 3rd of May. So if you want some, best get in before that expires. So that's it for this workshop. I really will miss this place. Anyway, right. See you next time. Thank you.